stating a math theorem or proving a math theorem or something like that? Could it potentially produce some incredible result? So in this tweet, Joshua Bach says, word on the street is that Q star proved P equals NP, and the board drama was only a decoy to divert everyone's eyes from 750 OpenAI employees cashing out to buy a 7-year supply of ammo and groceries. You might be wondering, what does that mean? Now, he's kind of saying this tongue in cheek. It's not 100% serious, but we'll unpack this. But basically, it means that computers would be able to do certain highly complex calculations fairly easily and fairly quickly. With that in mind, let's get back to our leaked paper. If this is a little bit confusing, it'll all make sense in just a second. This paper is saying, furthermore, Qualia, so this is what they're calling Q star, Qualia has demonstrated an ability to statistically significantly improve the way in which it selects its optimal action selection policies in different deep Q networks, exhibiting metacognition. So metacognition here means thinking about thinking, or thinking about how to manage your own thought processes. So basically, how do we optimize our thoughts to achieve certain solutions faster? So let me read this really fast, and then I'll explain in a sentence or two what it means and why it's incredibly bad if it's true. Like really bad. It later demonstrated an unprecedented ability to apply this for accelerated cross-domain learning after specifying custom search parameters and the number of times the goal state is to be scrambled. Following an unsupervised learning session on an extended ad hoc dataset consisting of articles in descriptive/inferential statistics and cryptanalysis, it analyzed millions of plaintext and ciphertext pairs from various crypto systems. Via a ciphertext-only attack, it provided plaintext from a given AES-192 ciphertext by using tau analysis, achieving Project Tundra's alleged goal. In a way we do not yet fully understand, blank informed blank at NSAC the following day after confirming that the result was indeed legitimate and had not been achieved in any other way. A claimed full pre-image vulnerability for the MD5 cryptographic hash function with a theoretical computational complexity of 2 to the power of 42 bits, a massive number, was also presented but has not yet been thoroughly evaluated due to A, the technical sophistication of its arguments, and B, possible AES vulnerabilities being a considerably more pressing concern. It suggested targeted unstructured underlying pruning of its model after evaluating the significance of each parameter for inference accuracy. It also suggested adapting the resulting prune transformer model and its current context memory to a different format using a novel type of metamorphic engine. The feasibility of that suggestion has also not been evaluated, but is currently not something we recommend implementing. All right, so let's unpack this a little bit. So Qualia, what is Qualia? Qualia is kind of like perceiving the world. It's like your brain perceiving the world. It's the experiences of your senses, feeling, seeing, hearing, tasting, whatever, the world. And so this model, Qualia, has demonstrated an ability to statistically significantly improve the way in which it selects its optimal action selection policies in different deep Q networks. So what does that mean? So we've talked about Q learning before. It's basically how we train robots, how we train AI to learn a new environment. It's how we sort of reward it for doing certain things, whether that's playing poker or chess or whatever. It does something good, we give it an attaboy, and over time it figures out which of its sort of moves lead to which results. And it gets better and better playing it over time. And so the deep Q networks, that's just a neural network that is used to do this sort of Q learning. By the way, this is spinningup.openai.com. So this is OpenAI, a little subdomain that they have. I'll link it down below. But this is all their documents and tutorials on deep reinforcement learning. This is an educational resource produced by OpenAI that makes it easier to learn about deep reinforcement learning. What I find kind of interesting is that when you go to key papers in deep reinforcement learning, they have a list of like a bazillion papers here. But interestingly, the very first one is deep Q learning. And under that sort of umbrella, they're talking about this one, playing Atari with deep reinforcement learning, which is a paper by DeepMind Technologies. So before it was Google DeepMind, it was DeepMind Technologies. And it's talking about how to teach AI to play Atari with deep reinforcement learning, with Q learning. That may or may not be important. So this is saying after training it, it demonstrated this newfound ability that we've never seen before in these models for accelerated cross-domain learning. And so they're saying what they gave it is they gave it encrypted text. So similar to how we transfer various encrypted text over the internet, or how you might have a little code if you don't want the message getting out, right? So we gave it plain text in English or whatever other language, sort of a human readable text, and the encrypted version of that text. And so that was sort of the data set on which it was trained. And then it's saying that the AI model, this Qualia, it was able to decipher texts. So if you gave it a brand new encrypted text, it would just transform it to plain text, regular human readable text. So blank informed blank at NSAC. And so they're informing one person, informing the other that the results were achieved with this model. There was no cheating going on. That's in fact how it achieved it. All right. So what does all that mean? What are we talking about here? If this is real, what this is saying is this AI model can easily break any encryption. It will effortlessly translate any encrypted information into plain text. And this AES 192, so this advanced encryption standard. So basically, just think of it as very secure, very encrypted, your information safe kind of encryption. So I gotta say, if this is a fake, it's very well written because it is hard to read. It's not like it just explains everything. So you have to kind of read between the lines what it's saying. Right? Nowhere in here does it scream out what this means and then 50 exclamation points. It's written, it probably would be written similarly as if it was indeed written from, one sophisticated AI researcher, like a computer science background to another. Like they're not going to over-explain things that both of them will understand. But what this is saying is basically this thing figured out how to break any encryption. Why is that a big deal? How big of a deal is it? Well, it's kind of huge. Basically, everything we do, we rely on encryption. From logging into our bank accounts, from transferring money bank to bank overseas, to a lot of like the government secrets, the corporate secrets, to it's almost hard to like list things out because it's like everything runs on software. Everything runs on the internet, and everything that is worth that you don't want the whole world to see is encrypted. At this point, pretty much every web page you visit is encrypted. Very rarely nowadays do you get to a web page and it doesn't have the little lock icon off to the left. I know most Android phones, everything you use on there is encrypted. What would it mean? It's like taking all the locks off of every door, taking out all the doors, taking out all the walls, all the fences, all the borders, just anyone can go anywhere, but in the digital world, on the internet. If somebody had something like this, number one, they could steal all the government secrets, all the corporate technologies, hack into any bank, probably impersonate anybody. I mean, anything that requires a password to get in would be pretty much open. Like it's hard to even imagine what that would look like. Now, in reality, what that would look like is the governments would probably shut off anything that is connected to anything, to the internet. So here where Joshua Bach said, word on the street is that Q star proved P equals NP, which is kind of similar to what this is saying in a different way. And he's saying that while this is unlikely, cracking a major encryption algorithm could mean that an AI algorithm has bootstrapped itself to a level of mathematical understanding far beyond the best human mathematicians. I leave the implications as an exercise. And so like, what does that look like? Where he's saying in a good scenario, the United Nations have successfully outlawed the use of electricity and the zombie hordes have mostly died off. But perhaps the most serious outcome of this being true is far more scary, and that is that Bitcoin price goes to zero. It's gone because this just takes all your Bitcoins. That's it. Because that was the whole thing about Bitcoin is it's encrypted money, so nobody can hack into it, nobody can take it. So something like this could either crash Bitcoin to zero by you would be able to delete all of cryptocurrency now that I think about it. Or it could just siphon off whatever it needs, whatever. And then saying it can also, potentially do a lot more than this, than what they described here. But we didn't evaluate it because, one, we didn't really understand what it means. And two, we're kind of worried about this, like the security implications of this thing up here. And it kind of goes on to say it suggested targeted, unstructured underlying pruning of its model, and adapting the prune transformer model to create a novel type of metamorphic engine. This reads a little bit weird to me because I don't know. This